Some create fake news because it sells.
The public has forgotten what real news is supposed to do in their lives.
The leader of the free world is giving you fake news himself.
How much do we know about this website? Can we tell where it's located, how they got their information?
Fake news. It's an issue the media and public face today, as the news industry is rapidly evolving with the heavy influence of social media. Fabricated news is on the rise. Why do news sites put out falsified information? And how does it affect the way we consume and share news? I'm Rena Kamal. This is Our Issues, Twin Cities.
Fake and news don't fit together. News is factual, objective truth, and you can't fake that. You can't fake the truth.
Former award-winning news anchor and investigative reporter, Don Shelby hung up his mic for the last time in 2010.
The public has forgotten what real news is supposed to do in their lives, to inform them so they make better decisions at the voting booth, which is the primary job of the press and its freedom. But now people are trying to find out what's happening with the Jolie Brad Pitt deal. It's what's happening there. You know, I need the Kardashians, I gotta watch. And so people are vicariously finding that that's easier to absorb. And they think that's news. And that is a problem, that the concept of what news is to the consuming American public has changed vastly.
Perhaps the news landscape has changed vastly due to the rapid surge of the World Wide Web. Today, there are endless avenues of where to get news.
There are all kinds of other kinds of content, from sponsored content created by advertisers or companies that are really trying to promote an industry or sell a product, and now, of course, there's fake news, and it all comes together on this computer.
As a former Star Tribune investigative reporter, University of Minnesota professor Chris Eizon says the news media should be more transparent with the advent of the internet.
With the increase of digital and social media, has news, opinion, and entertainment intertwined?
Yeah, it's hard to know what we're reading at different times and on different sites. There's a lot more of all kinds of news and communication about news in ways that makes it hard to distinguish one from another.
Social media and certain websites on the internet continue with the goal of polarizing and splitting America. Then I wonder, is there something behind that? I mean, we used to disagree, but the person you disagreed with wasn't the enemy. You didn't wish for their demise. That's not the case today.
A few days ago, I called the fake news the enemy of the people, and they are. They are the enemy of the people.
Since becoming the 45th president of the United States, Donald Trump has been speaking and tweeting about fake news on the regular. But making up news stories is not necessarily new. However, with the arrival and growth of social media, fake news is on the rise.
You know, a lot of fake news is done by amateurs, and you can kind of catch it if you look closely. You know, stuff that's in all caps probably isn't being done by a legitimate news site. Things that start with "not a hoax" probably are hoaxes.
Why do you think news sites put out fake news?
Some create fake news because it sells, and they can drive an audience to their websites where they have advertisements, and they can make more money on their advertisements. I think somebody noted he was making, I believe it was $10,000 a month, maybe it was $10,000 a week. I'm not sure what it was, but it was a lot of money creating fake news and driving audiences to that news, because people are willing to share it, especially if it reflects their preconceived biases.
Do you think that we should be worried by these sites that are setting out to get fake news stories up and running?
So yeah, we as journalists need to be concerned about that because it's hurting the credibility of what good journalists do, but mostly the public needs to be concerned about it. You know, you need a public that wants to know the truth, not a public that wants to have their point of view affirmed.
This is progressing leaps and bounds. It's going to have more and more effect on that, but there is no rules and regulations.
Former drugstore owner Tom Sengupta has been holding forums and conversations with the community discussing politics and public issues, such as the responsibility of the media.
How scary is fake news to society today?
It is very, because democracy depends on truth. You know, without that, you're not going to have democracy. You know, that's why it's so scary about the leader of the free world is giving you fake news himself. You know, they're trying to create an alternate reality, the alternate truth.
Alternate facts.
Alternate facts. And they're creating an alternate reality. And 30% of his followers are believing that. You know, it's so frightening to see.
He continues his conversations through the Tom Sengupta Forum at the Augsburg College Sabo Center.
As a concerned citizen, Tom, why do you think it's important to fight fake news today?
Because, like I said, the democracy depends on truth, and fake news is always untrue. Mm-hmm. You know, so on that basis, that you have to have, you know, the truth in what we're reading, how you're making decision, what we believe in. You have to have the truth in it, mm-hmm. And without that, we're not going to have anything.
When we return, how social media has quickly become the go-to news source for many Americans.
We go straight to the source. I mean, we look at every TV station, every newspaper in the area, and we also have, you know, social media alerts and a couple of services that actually provide just kind of results of what people are sharing on social media, so we can get a gauge of how stories are doing.
One of the fastest and most preferred ways for people to get news is digitally. GoMN is just that, a modern digital news outlet.
When we're looking at, you know, a story, we tend to kind of vet out, okay, how much do we know about this website? You know, what's it called? What does it look like? Can we tell where it's located, how they got their information?
As the editorial director, Reed says ethical journalism stems from good intentions and the right skill set.
I think we want to make sure that people understand that we're real. And part of that is really just making sure that people understand that this is a newsroom of people who live in Minnesota, who care about, you know, what's happening in this state and what's happening in the world.
The job of journalists and reporters has always been to sort through essentially fake news anyway. It was just all behind the scenes usually, talking to people. Now with social media, the internet, it just gets out there more, right. And so you almost have to combat it publicly rather than sort through it privately.
A Pew Research survey found that 6 in 10 Americans and 62% of adults in the U.S. get their news from social media, Facebook topping the list. And now, with the majority of adults in America getting their news from digital sources, most traditional news outlets have a social media presence.
Social media has created a level of citizenship, albeit in many cases uninformed. But it has created engagement. People have a voice now, they can speak. People are looking at social media in the upper echelons of journalism and saying, what are they talking about? What are they talking about? Let's chase that story.
I think we find a lot of story ideas on social media too. People post things that they're excited about, and we get excited too. And so it moves the news process even faster than it ever was before.
As social media has become an important vessel for news outlets, the problem of fake news across the cyber world peaked during the last presidential election. According to BuzzFeed, the top 20 fake election news stories received more shares, comments, and reactions in the last 3 months of the campaign than the top 20 election stories from 19 major mainstream news sites. 17 of the top 20 fabricated stories were either pro-Trump or anti-Clinton.
We know that some people create fake news for partisan reasons to just persuade an audience to prefer a certain candidate or not prefer a certain candidate.
Faith and belief can't compare to an actual fact. And no matter how much faith, no matter how much you believe otherwise, you cannot change a fact.
Fact is a fact.
That's right. So otherwise you just say, I can't stand that fact, so I'm not going to listen anymore to that radio station or watch that television station. I'm going to an internet site that only tells me what I want to hear.
Do you think that people are always looking for information that confirms their beliefs?
Definitely. You know, that's why the news media have to go down to the nitty-gritty, and they have to get their own credibility back. You know, like we have to reach out, both sides have to reach out to each other and, you know, create a community and close this gap that we have. And then we have to say that maybe they will listen to our side and we'll be listening to their side. And we have to show them that we know that we made a mistake in not listening to their suffering. Turn up the CNN and see what Fox is saying, and turn up the Fox and see what MSNBC is saying.
See what the other side is saying.
And then try to meet, you know, and talk about that. We might not agree, but we will respect them as a human being.
With resources, tools, and a talented team of writers, reporters, and entrepreneurs, GoMN creates content for millennials.
We're a little bit younger and we're less of an established brand than, say, Star Tribune or you know, another like a TV station or you guys or whoever. We have to do it by being really careful and clear about what we're putting out there, making it clear who we're quoting, who our sources are, and staying away from language that you know, creates a bias in what we're putting out.
If there's some sort of, you know, potential implicit bias tied in or something, just try to be upfront about it. You know, whether it's a poll and how they conducted it, or it's from a certain like think tank that tends to lean, you know, liberal or conservative. Just being upfront, being really, really clear and transparent.
And let's not forget the fundamental of journalism, finding and reporting facts.
You gotta fact check, especially now where it is really easy for someone to just take a tweet that really has no basis whatsoever and turn that into something that may shape, you know, what the president is going to say on a given day. That's a great amount of power that someone can have without any factual backing. So of course everyone on this team understands that you have to kind of trace something back to its source and see whether it's actually true. And even within that, the best intentioned journalists still get lied to sometimes. But at least if we are doing our best to kind of cover our bases in that respect, that's how you build someone's trust. They know that we have like our readers' best, you know, interests at heart with what we're trying to do.
Facts are facts. Things that you see with your own eyes and can validate through primary and secondary sources and prove to be true cannot be denied.
So how will the rise of falsified information affect the way journalists report and present the news? The answer, up next on Our Issues, Twin Cities.
Media literacy is a big challenge. There's a lot more conversation today about the need for media literacy in schools and education so that young people learn early that they have to be active consumers of information who consider the source.
There's a whole code of ethics and conduct that, journalists who this is their life follow.
Jenny is a professor at Augsburg College. She teaches a course on social media. One of the hottest topics of discussion, fake news. How do you think it's going to affect you guys, our future journalists, in the era of post-truth and digital?
With journalism, journalists, especially in this time, when it's so huge in the media, just one little mistake in your writing or opinion or bias would affect your career, or have the potential to affect your career.
You don't need to sensationalize anything or appeal to anything to get more advertising money.
Yeah.
And I feel like even with the papers here, like the Pioneer Press and the Star Tribune, I feel like whenever I look at the paper, I'm like, is this an authoritative source that we can use to document our history, or is this more of like an entertainment book? Stretching the truth on a line of items that when I go to corroborate it independently, I find out it wasn't actually like that, and this was a professional journalism being paid to write this story, things like that. So it's just kind of worrying.
And it's like everyone wants to be on the hottest topic,
Yeah.
and whether they're completely truthful with the hottest topic, that can kind of play in the sense where like, well, how is this piece that I'm writing going to be 10 times better than the piece that person just published
Exactly,
with the city
yes.
pages? So why not I just try to dive deeper, and then that's when you get the problem with fake news, because you dive deeper or you say like, I interviewed someone. Well, is that someone an actual credible source or not?
Then what are the guidelines of a true journalist? Is the role of a journalist intended to just report the facts and remain objective? Today, many have gained significant popularity in their commentary reporting, sometimes reaching a wider audience than the traditional journalist.
Today we see a lot of journalists who are partisan, who are very biased. Do you think that journalists are obligated to remain objective, unbiased when reporting the news?
People need to recognize that they're being biased and don't claim, oh, I'm being neutral, this is kind of just how it is. I think if you read from multiple different sides of it, you're going to get a much better understanding of what's happening.
We all have our views offline, we're all going to do things from a certain perspective. But I think you have to put your biases out there when you're writing something. It has to be clear. Hey, if I'm going to do an opinion piece, you have to say that's what it is, so people can understand that. Otherwise, you got to keep bias separate from how you report a story and tell it.
In journalism, objectivity wasn't meant to mean that we don't have opinions. The term objectivity in journalism was meant to indicate that we do our journalism based on facts. What the scholars and journalists Bill Kovach and Tom Rosenstiel often call a method of verification, where your reporting is based on facts, not based on your opinion. And you're willing to let the facts dictate where a story will go. That's what objectivity is meant to mean.
There's no way to clean your brain out and say, I'm not reporting certain facts because they happen to impinge on my feelings or my position in the community.
Do you guys think the prevalence of fake news or fabricated news is the next challenge for journalists?
I just feel like that's always been. I mean, I haven't really noticed it till now because of like how prevalent it is in the media, but I feel like there's always that chance where that's what would make or break your career, is if you state fake news or not.
So, in a time where the term post-truth was named the word of 2016 by Oxford Dictionaries, how do we debunk fabricated news?
How do you think those who consume news find ways of determining what they're reading is true?
We have to decide ourselves, is this right? Is it true, too good to be true?
seek out a news website, a newspaper, a television station, hopefully all those, and do a little research and figure out what they're about. Are they there to push a partisan point of view? Well, yeah, if that's true, you know you're going to get one side of a story, and it may be distorted a bit.
It just takes a critical eye, not a cynical eye, but a critical eye, saying, before I do anything, before I act on this information, before I click retweet, I'm going to find out whether that's true. I don't want to be a fool. I don't want to be a part of some kind of conspiracy to spread false information and scare the public. Even though it agrees with what I want to do, I would love the public to be scared this way. I don't want to be a part of that. That's not good citizenship, to be a part of, propaganda.
And although the rise of fabricated news has created obstacles for journalists, it has also shined a light on the issue, bringing it to the public's attention.
I think it's going to force the public to reflect a little bit and consider that whether they want to know the truth or not. And to realize that if they do, they're going to have to work a little harder to think about where they're getting their information.
Although there has been a substantial uptick in recent years, fake news will always have a place in our society. But it's up to us, as citizens of the cyber world, to rely on credible news sources and to always fact check. Thanks for joining me this week on Our Issues Twin Cities. I'm Brenna Kamal. See you next time.